Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for this segment, we have Roland Harings, CEO of Aurubis, a global provider of non-ferrous metals and one of the largest copper recyclables worldwide. Roland, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Oh, thanks, Jill. Pleasure having me.
Given the war in Russia, inflation, and recession worries, what kind of demand for copper are you expecting over the next 6 months and over the next few years?
Yeah, well, we see now that with the really extreme situation that we are going through with the war in Ukraine, despite this, we see a booming demand for our copper products, because this what we already started to electrify, to decarbonize many products, move into e-mobility, and also expand the production of renewable energy is picking up even more speed and is being accelerated in many countries and also industry around. So what we see today is a strong demand, an increasing demand for copper and for copper products, because the metals that we produce are more than needed for this energy transformation that we all want to go through much faster and get independent from supply of fossil energies from countries with which we don't want to do business any longer.
You recently broke ground on a roughly $350 million multi-metals recycling facility in Augusta, Georgia. What attracted you to the state, and what do you hope to achieve with the new plant?
Yeah, what is also beside our copper production, which comes from the primary mining side, we have a large activity in recycling copper, and we have the leading technology. We are running a smelter network in Europe with 4 large recycling plants, processing over 1 million tons of recycling material in Europe and providing significant metals back to the industry in a circular approach. And this technology is today not existing in the United States. We were purchasing already starter stock for our European smelter network in the US, and we see the opportunity with an increasing conscious about circularity, that raw materials have to be treated not in a linear way, but in a circular way, that there is a market, there is a demand, and also a very good business case for us to move this technology in the first large of its kind smelter, recycling smelter into the US. And we have picked Georgia after a long process, because our first plant, and it's our first step to go into the US with recycling, is in the southeast of the country. And we have been receiving a very positive feedback from our supplier base, from the pre-processors, from the scrap collectors, with bringing now this processing capability, this offtake capacity for them into the US market. And we are very excited by this investment and also the potential going forward.
Energy is a huge factor in your business, especially when it comes to transporting your products. So Roland, what are you seeing with the prices of energy and how it's impacting the business?
Energy, we are an energy intensive industry, and we will remain so. We have, as Aurubis, have already transformed in the last 20 years away from fossil energy. And today already electricity in our European network represents 80% of the energy source we are using. So natural gas is still an important, with 15% and 5% fossil energy. And we have a clear roadmap till 2030, also supported and agreed with the Science-Based Targets Initiative, that we further decarbonize our scope 1 and 2 emissions by 50%. So we are clearly going to electrify our business. And now with what is happening in the world with fossil energy prices and also the aim to faster decarbonize, we are going to accelerate this agenda forward. So what we need and what we think will be our future is based on electricity, green electricity, and then also some elements of green hydrogen going forward. And renewable energy will over time provide also a very competitive source of energy at a price level that makes us also competitive in a world scale.
And copper, to your point earlier, is a key component to almost everything we depend on day-to-day: cars, mobile devices, batteries, and traditional renewable energy technologies such as wind and solar. Roland, can supply meet demand with new projects like yours?
Yes. So what we see, there needs to be two. We need new mining. We need to be responsible additional mining projects around the world. And there are enough assets and enough deposits to meet the demand from the primary side. But clearly also the expansion of the circular of the recycling business, and this step into the US with our recycling plant, which will process 90,000 tons of recycling material and will deliver 35,000 tons of blister copper to the market, is an important step. And what we have developed in Georgia or implement the first time in Georgia is what we call a modular recycling plant. which means it's scalable and also repeatable. So with the huge availability and the increasing availability with collection schemes and also the awareness of consumers that material needs to be returned or not wasted, we see a significant potential and also the possibility to faster increase the recycling capacity, and by doing so, increase the availability of the metals that we need for this transformation going forward.
And finally, Aurubis has articulated goals related to sustainability. How are you balancing these with your investments and planned market growth?
All our investments, so we are a front runner in all ESG topics. If it's CO2 footprint, if it's an environment in general, we are running the cleanest and sustainable smelter network here in Europe. And what I always like to point out is I'm standing here in Hamburg in our main plant, and I can just watch from my window the town center, the town hall, and we are running a huge metal operation, smelter operation here. And I think it's the proof how advanced Aurubis is in all environmental topics, that we're here on best terms with the city, with the government, with our neighbors, while operating one large industrial operation here. So we are top in class in all environmental, and we have invested in the last 20 years, hundreds of millions into the leading environmental technology. So we are on good terms, and that's exactly the standard of best technology that we will bring to all our plants, obviously also to our plant, the new plant in Georgia, and we will be one of the cleanest and best smelter and recycling plant that the world will have.
All right, Roland, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Okay, thank you, Jill.